All right. Looks like we're working now. There's a little lag on my end, but it's all good. We'll just jump right into it. Yep. Thank you guys. Thank you, Deanna, Narrow Path, for tuning in, and thanks for letting us know that the audio is coming in now. So I'm going to jump right into this. Thank you guys. Thank you, everyone that is tuning into the live presentation. And for those of you who are going to tune into the replay, thanks for showing up tonight. I'm really excited to share this presentation and have this conversation around community composting. So, thanks if you are inspired after this presentation to share this presentation with someone who is looking to start community composting or just composting in general. Definitely check out our YouTube channel. We have some material there and some resources in our link tree to be able to share. But if you are inspired after this presentation, please share this conversation. I definitely want to see the adoption of community composting on various different scales. So after the presentation, I'm going to have Q&A. I'll take some questions. So leave your questions in the comment section. I will post it up as soon as the presentation is over. So if you are composting and you're in attendance tonight live or during the replay, let us know. Let us know what style of composting you're using, where you're coming from, whether you're doing worm composting, vermicomposting, or bokashi composting, or any various form. Let us know in the comment section. Would love to see what people are doing out there. So some of the things I would like for the audience to take away tonight is understanding what community composting is. I'd like for you guys to learn about food waste and the impacts, especially in our county, in Polk County, where I'm coming from. Discover the benefits of composting, recognize the negative effects of landfills, explore examples of successful community composting in Central Florida, and be inspired to participate in local composting initiatives. That's what I want everyone to take away from tonight's presentation. Here's what our compost system looks like. Everyone's compost system looks differently. This is what our backyard style composting looks like. We have a mix of worm bins and bokashi. We integrate the bokashi into our worm bins, and we have found that it's a really nice marriage, a really good companion uh, system that works together. We've been composting for 2 years. We started out with a tumbler compost system. Then we were gifted some worms by a really good friend of ours, and we started worm composting in a 5-gallon worm bin. Then we increased our size and we increased it to a 2-barrel system that you see here. We integrated bokashi composting with the worms, and like I said, we found that to be a really nice companion system. So we have been tracking the amount of compost, the amount of worm castings that we harvested, and we've been able to harvest about almost 400 pounds of compost worm casting, and that really makes me excited. I'm looking forward to harvesting some more worm castings in the next month or so. But this is what our tracker looks like. We've been able to harvest that amount. We're looking to work on a food waste tracker, which just tracks the amount of food waste that we're actually being able to recycle. So we're working on that now. Hopefully, on the next presentation or the next time you guys hear something from us, you'll be able to hear exactly how much food waste we've been able to manage just on our own footprint. So that's something to look forward to. Here is what our worm castings looks like. Harvesting our worm castings, what it looks like. This harvest, we were able to harvest around 100 pounds, almost 100 pounds of worm castings. We estimated that we had about almost 6,000 worms in our worm bins. And it's always wonderful to be able to see what our efforts look like. We were able to do this in about, I think that one was our fastest recorded harvest. It was 2 months. So let's briefly go over why. I think the why is very important. I think addressing food waste in general is really important. So let's just glaze over that real quick. So households are responsible for 76 billion pounds of food waste per year. That's a huge number to wrap our brains around. And here's some more stuff to wrap our brains around when it comes to the impact of food waste. So, an average person wastes around 238 pounds of food per year. And that costs them about 1,800 per year on just managing that waste. So, we're racking up the numbers in terms of, waste. Not only are we wasting material, we're wasting money on managing that material, and we could manage it in a much simpler way. So let's talk about the impact that have uh, landfills have when it comes to food waste, the negative effects and the destructive effects of landfills. So landfills lead to the pollution and contamination of our air, land, and water, which negatively impacts our health and economy. So when we're just tossing food out, it it has a negative impact. These are some impacts that we don't really see because the way our system is created. But when we start taking on responsibility of managing our own compost or our own waste, we get to see what our impact really is. And I think this illustration right here is going to um, explore that. So as of 2024, my county here in Florida, Polk County, has a population of almost 848,000 people, or about a little over 848,000 people. And when you multiply the average number of food waste per person in America, you multiply 238 by the population that we have here in Polk County, that's giving you over 200 million pounds of waste that's going to the landfill. Now, that's a whole lot of waste. That's obviously something that one individual can't be able to be responsible for. But when we start taking this responsibility and taking on our own footprint, we get magic happens, and that's what I'm trying to portray in this conversation today. That the transformation that happens through composting, no matter what scale it's on, whether it's backyard or an industrial size. So let's talk about composting real quick. Composting is the process of recycling organic materials into a fertilizer that can enrich our soils and our plants. And that definition is given by the USDA.gov. ILSR is another fantastic resource, and they have really great illustrations for composting. And here's one depicted here. I cite ILSR a lot through this presentation, so I definitely encourage people to check them out if you want to learn more about composting in general and also community composting. So let's talk about community composting. Community composting is a model of composting that sources organic materials locally. It engages the community in the composting process and uses the compost produced in local soils. So community composting is a closed loop system. It's a system that allows the produce that is generated from our stores, markets, farms. It's sold. We're able to regenerate and put that food back into our local community and just capture that potential, that resource, and keep it into our community. And we're going to talk about more of the benefits of community composting in a second. But I just want to show, I think this illustration from ILSR is really great. It shows how composting can create this circular economy just around something that is quote unquote waste. So I'm going to share this video that talks about the economic benefits of community composting. And I think it's going to show a really great illustration of what community composting looks like on a various different scales. So let me switch screens real quick. And here we go. Also share audio. All right, I'm going to play this video now. Let me just make sure I got it up. Share this. All right, here we go.
When you think of community composting, what do you picture? Sure, it can look like small urban gardens, but community composters are also farmers, using their finished compost product to increase crop yields and farm income. And there are small businesses, handling large quantities of food scraps while creating local jobs at a higher rate per ton compared to landfills and incinerators.
When people compost with BK Rot, they're really looking at putting their dollars back into their neighbors and putting them back into their communities right where they are. They're also getting a greater amount of personal connection to that investment.
We have a really strong team.
And it's a pretty sweet gig knowing that we're collecting food scraps and helping the environment.
There's no one model for what community composting looks like, which is why all across the country, composters are thriving. And because they're flexible, innovative, and attuned to the needs of their communities, they do all of this while requiring less money startup time than more centralized, large industrial facilities.
We were the first company to offer food scraps collections here in our community. Our end goal was always to partner with the city. We want to strategically invest our dollars to create a robust composting, organics recycling program that will have long-term benefits for years to come.
When you couple the local economic benefits of community composting with the social and environmental benefits that come with local compost use, the savings start to really add up. Investing in local composting supports small enterprises and nonprofits that are sensitive to community needs, growing a resilient economy, local, circular, and diverse, like community composting itself. Through training and education, funding opportunities, policies, and programs, EPA supports communities in meeting their goals and needs associated with
Okay, let me bring it back to the presentation. But I think that video there illustrated how beneficial community composting can be to our local communities and how it could provide a whole slew of benefits, economic benefits, health benefits, and just a way for us to steward our resources. So let's just review real quickly. Let me just make sure I'm coming in. Audio's good. My slides are not up, so perfect. Now they're up. Fantastic. All right, so let's review the benefits of composting real quick. Environmental benefits: reduces landfill waste. We keep those resources in our soil. We store them in our land. We recycle nutrients back into our soil, like I just mentioned. Let's talk about the community benefits. Uh, and there's such a big highlight to what community composting does. It really brings the community together. It enhances community engagement. It provides compost for local gardens and green spaces. And it's such a transformative thing because we're taking something that we call in our society waste, and we're actually transmuting it into gold, and something that nature does so beautifully. And I really want to highlight the economic benefits because that's what we like to talk about here at Eco Hustle. We like to talk about the economy around us, the circular economy. So the economic benefits around composting is, let me just check the notes real quick because I'm looking at the live video. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, the economic benefits, the potential cost savings on waste management, that 1800 that I spoke about earlier per person that it costs to manage waste, that we can actually be creating a revenue stream, or just like I said, storing that potential into our soils. The creation of local jobs in composting and related industries, and it provides circular economies where we get to create that closed loop in our local communities. So let's talk about the importance of decentralized composting. I'm going to break down decentralized in a second, but let's just talk about the importance of breaking up community composting into different scales, whether it be small, medium, large. So decentralization of community composting reduces the burden on centralized waste management systems. It enhances food security by improving local soil quality for urban agriculture. It fosters community collaboration and shared responsibility for environmental stewardship. This is something that I'm really trying to execute on. I'm really looking to collaborate in my local community in providing some of these services and just seeing how I could be of service. And just to really stress and highlight the economic benefit that decentralized community composting bring. It produces equity in the local community. That's what I really want to see. I want to see uh, just us taking advantage of the abundance that's around us. I mean, just think about almost the 400 pounds I showed you guys earlier, what we've been able to track and harvest. And that could have been trash, but we made some money from that. We've put it back into our soils. We shared it with friends. There's so much that can be done in just our small scale example. So let's break down this illustration of decentralization. So when we're decentralizing community composting, we're breaking it up into different scales. We have the small scale, the backyard scale, which our system is an example of that. The community scale, which is more of a agricultural but localized example, and the industrial, which is a bigger commercial scale. And all three of these help make the composting initiative in our local communities robust. Here's an example of a backyard community composting system that works so well for us here in Florida. It's a banana circle. A banana circle is essentially a compost pit surrounded by bananas. The compost provides a lot of fertility and food for the bananas, and this is a really great backyard, small scale composting style. Here's an example of I just want to bring you back to the example of our backyard community composting. Our worm and bukashi composting is another great example of a small scale backyard system. Just want to reiterate this system, we typically harvest anywhere between 2 to 6 months, and it could give us anywhere between, uh, 50 to 150 pounds, depending on how much how much waste we put into it and bedding and whatnot. So trenching bukashi is another example, is a really good example of what you could do on like a community garden or even in your backyard. You can make a trench, pour your bukashi in there. Bukashi is a ferment a way to ferment your food waste. It is a Japanese style of composting, and you're basically pre-digesting your food scraps so that it can break down much quicker, or it just inoculate your soil, so to speak, with all the microorganisms inside of it and bacteria. So this is a really great example of something you can do at home, or you can do, on a community garden scale. And for more of a medium-sized scale, is a community setup where you can have your traditional 3-bin system or a stacking bin system, but it's a hot compost style or whatever works for the community setup. You can set something up where people can bring in, drop off materials and food waste and just regenerate those materials back on the farm or an agricultural site. So let's talk about examples of community composting in Central Florida. So we're going to keep kind of piggybacking off of the whole decentralization model where we have public programs. And in a second, we're going to talk about private, but we want to decentralize it in a way that we have public initiatives. And in Orlando has an initiative where they serve their community. They have drop-off sites, with farmers markets, and they're partnered with other local organizations. Winter Park has a program as well. They run a community composting program where they also do a drop-off location, and this is just an example of a public program, and that's a really great way to foster community composting. Now, private programs are another way. We want to, like I said, we want to decentralize. We want to kind of scale these into different areas and in different settings. And private settings, there has been a lot of success in the private efforts of community composting. O Town is a community composter in Orlando. They have a wonderful, successful system that they've been going for, I think, 5 or 10 years or something like that. But they've been successful in their efforts. They provide pickup for their residential subscribers, and they actually have a wonderful podcast for anyone that's looking to dive deeper into the economics, or just the what a private program looks like, and other people that are in that system. Suncoast Compost out in Tampa offers pretty much the same composting services. They have a bunch of drop off services as well in the Tampa Bay area. So those are two places, those are two businesses that you can check out, and they've been very successful. There's a whole range of other successful businesses here in Central Florida and just throughout the United States. Community composting is definitely picking up steam. When I'm from New York, it was something that was big out there. I got to experience that in New York City as well, and this is just expanding to so many areas. Polk County is not a lot of action and activity going on in my area, and that's why I'm trying to provide. I'm bringing this presentation to provide awareness around composting, especially for my county. So I would like to see more drop-off sites in our area, specifically in Polk County, local farms, drop-off sites at local farms, agricultural sites, community gardens. I would love to see the adoption in institutional scale facilities as well, educational facilities, worship centers, restaurants, offices, home associations, homeowner associations, government buildings, just to decentralize. I really want to hone in, like I said, on the decentralized effort. And if we uh, create redundant systems in different scales, whether it be backyard all the way to industrial, we're going to have a very healthy system around composting in our community. So I provided some links and resources for anyone that wants to continue diving into this idea of community composting. Here's some resources here. The Institute for Local Self-Reliance, they have a composting program. Let me actually just shift gears real quick. Let me share another screen to show you guys. Let me just make sure my screen is sharing. All right, cool. So the Institute for Local Self-Reliance has a neighborhood soil builders training, composter training. This is something I'm really interested in. They provide a training resource for anyone that's looking to get into community composting on that mid-level scale. So this is a really great option if you want to decide looking further into community composting. There's so many resources out there, and I think this slide here that I'm showing you guys provides further information for anyone who's interested. Another resource that I didn't put into this presentation is for anyone, just in general, I recommend reaching out to your local extension office, your UF extension office, if you're looking to see if there's any programs already in your local area, or maybe some resources that they could provide you with. Check out the local extension. This presentation is an open source presentation, so feel free to share and modify. If you're interested in downloading this presentation, use this QR code here, where it brings you to our link tree. And in our link tree, you can download this presentation, you can modify it. I just want to see this conversation shared, and we're not gatekeepers over here. We've received so much support, and I think it's just healthy to allow this conversation to keep going and spread as much resources as possible for people to take however they see. So I'm just paying homage to the information that I've gotten, and I just want to continue to keep putting that information out there. So go on our link tree, download that source if you're interested. Also, please, it'll really help us out here at Eco Hustle if you just check out our link tree. If you're in Polk County and you want to, you want to collaborate on whatever whatever scale of composting, reach out to us. We're interested in, seeing how we could provide, how we could collaborate further. And also feel free to donate to us. That really helps us out to continue these efforts, and it just helps, keep this whole thing alive. And that is the end of my presentation there. I know I kind of rambled on, went relatively quickly with that, but I think I was able to share how important and transformative community composting is. And really, I'm just a backyard composter. I've started on a small scale, and I would love uh, to see this expanded, in my local area, and see, my efforts and just our efforts expanded, and our footprint kind of expand a little further, just to help out. So yeah, that's the presentation there. If anyone has any questions, or any feedback or anything, or if you're in Polk County or whatever, just whatever you want to share, just the space is open now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me take this screen off. Once again, thank you everyone who let me turn on the chat overlay. Thank you everyone in the chat section here. Cindy, Summer, what's up, y'all? Sam, thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Is anybody here composting? Let us know. Put it in the chat group. Are you composting? How are you composting? What do the community composting efforts look like in your area, in your town? Is this something you're interested in? Let us know. Let's have a little conversation. Wow, that was 30 minutes. I did pretty good. Thanks, Yvette, by the way. I appreciate your help being in the chat. Oh man, Dwayne, what's up, homie? Appreciate you. Yes, man, just trying to expand these efforts and these initiatives. Thanks for tuning in, Dwayne. Appreciate you, man. Yes, the community network is growing. I see it everywhere. It's happening in the barter hub. It's happening all around me. This composting is definitely blowing up. It's big. I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it present in our local community. One of the things I want to stress, or just I want to continue to stress with the community composting initiative, is it provides an opportunity for people to get into, this green space of work, this kind of thanks, this kind of regenerative work, and gives people a gateway to get into this type of space. I've been composting for 2 years, and it really has been transformative. I really enjoy it. I love it. Cindy is composting with chickens. Yes, I just checked out her system that she adds food scraps to. Yeah, chickens are great composters. Worms are fantastic composters. Chickens, great composting. And you have a nice closed loop system with your chickens. They're eating the food scraps. They're eating through the food scraps, getting the bugs. They're getting good protein, and providing some good protein back to you. It's just a beautiful system. Transformative. So who else is composting out there? Anybody else? Spin table. Okay, I see Summer is composting. Yeah, I think Jacksonville definitely has a good, I've heard they have good initiatives out there. Yeah, Tumblr. We had a Tumblr bin. That was cool. The Tumblr, we built it ourselves. We built it with a couple friends. It worked out decent. I honestly prefer um like a 3 bin or just the setup that we have. The Tumblr was all right. Um yeah, it was okay. Everyone, like I said, everyone has different um styles of composting that they integrate. There's so many different styles. Like I said, check out our YouTube channel, check out our resources. We talk a lot about bukashi composting. Like I said, it's a fermented, it's a pre-digested. It's not really compost, it's pre-compost. But I think bukashi compost is definitely one of my favorite uh composting practices. Banana circles are probably the second one there. Like I really like. I'm always throwing some bukashi in my buddy Sam's, not Sam here, Davis, but my other friend Sam's place. He has a banana circle, and the bananas are thriving with the bukashi, with the food scraps. Banana circles are great. I'm glad you're utilizing that banana circle. And us here in Florida, we're so spoiled. Like we get to integrate. Um, things get the soil just gobbles that up so quickly because of our weather out here. So composting is really fun out here. It could get a little bit of a nuisance with a lot of the pests. We got a lot of ants. We've had ants in our worm bins. We had to reset. We actually lost um, half of our worms, not due to pests, but because we fed our worms some hot compost, some compost that wasn't finished. So, hey, we're advanced here. We're not necessarily experts. I think we are expanding this and teaching as much as we do because we want to continue to learn and expand our efforts from this backyard system into a kind of mid-scale community composting initiative. And there's some stuff brewing. Um, there's some stuff in the community brewing. I don't want to really say anything yet, but I'm really looking to just get just get the initiative started here, no matter what scale it is, small, mid. I really want to focus on small and mid-level. Industrials way out of my scale. Not interested in going that direction, but hey, it's definitely necessary. It is definitely necessary. I think those are pretty much all the questions and feedback I'm getting in right there. Um, I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. I hope I inspired everyone to at least start looking into composting on some scale. If you're doing it already, kudos to you. Keep it going. Um, keep doing it. For anyone that is interested in like turning it up, maybe looking into a type of way of making money, it is possible. Check out Old Town Compost podcast. They Old Town Compost and ILSR, they both have a podcast where they go around and talk to these successful businesses that are composting. I mean, it's a thing. Take this trash. One man's trash is another man's treasure. So I hope I inspired everyone. Check out our link tree. Appreciate you guys again. Keep composting out there. Peace out, everyone. Thanks again.